Yeah, or you pick a subset that you really like and draft it for that, yeah. I think drafting something new, single family, would probably be better than just adding single family as a to the developmental order.
Because the buffer zones are different, outlines are different. There's a lot of differences.
Yeah, and this DO, I mean, the whole developmental order is a very complex thing, which is why professionals get paid good money to read them over and comply with them on there. Drafting something that's a bit more easier on the eyes for the code that's going to have a single family.
But you'd use portions that what we originally have, 75% or 50% native, get rid of exotics, the whole portion is there. So it's just a matter of copying, pasting a lot of that. Yeah. Oh, how do we move forward on this?
What about the first section about misdemeanor and jail time? Can the city do that?
I don't have a gun. I don't have a jail.
I understand that. I mean, so that would be getting the
A little reticent about
sheriff's
doing
department in to arrest people for an invasive plant?
These are examples. The first one's from Sanibel, the second one's from Marco Island. And
We
it's
don't have our own
whatever,
police force.
they're examples. They're examples of what could happen, but
What-
it is probably the
You're right, though.
primary thing.
The town, there's no one on town staff who can apprehend anybody, who can arrest anybody, who can put anybody in
Citizen
jail.
patrol.
We
You
don't
guys,
have the
hey, let's
capability
not
to
get
do
caught
that.
up. You guys don't get caught up in this. I think the point is there's got to be a punitive measure. Right now there isn't. So what's our normal fine structure for people that don't comply with ordinances? That's what should apply to this. Right? Lighting ordinance, whatever it might be, or anything. Make sense?
Yes.
Or code compliance?
Right.
Yeah.
Our normal, I don't think we're going to put a special, in for this, but yeah, there needs to be something punitive if you don't comply. I mean, first of all, you won't get your LDO approved, right? At least not your final. You don't comply with the ordinance. Is that how we treat people right now that don't?
Right. Yeah. Resubmit. Ask for.
Oh, okay. What would be the measure if somebody came and planted a non? That would be the same thing. It would be just a non-invasive and invasive. The same as doing.
Right. So you send them a warning. Please comply.
Right. Get rid of
Amount
it.
of time to comply.
Get rid of it, or it's $25 a day.
Educate them,
Yeah.
Get them to understand why it's important.
The process goes, and they have lots of time to solve this with the
Right.
town.
Yes, I know. We know that from the bidding stuff. So I was going to suggest that we actually, if we have to look at this closer, or we have, Chad, you had this in advance. I mean, these all seem to me to be extremely simple additions to the existing. What would take a little more time now is if we do, I thought we would just be able to put single family also.
Yeah, I can talk it over with planners. What they think is the best way forward, but my inclination personally would be to have something for single families that's what's the trigger for requiring exotics to be removed, what's the minimum requirements for native vegetation, what's the limits for sod, limits for things like rock, what's the design criteria for things like rock. Do we allow plastic barriers where it basically becomes impermeable? I know it seems like an easy copy and paste, but I think we have to put some thought into it and come back with something for it.
Yeah, and then are these recommendations something that you'd consider for the existing, for the commercial and everything, just the updates and definitions? I mean, it seems like it's all.
It's y'all are to advise the town
Right.
council, so I would leave that to y'all to see what you like and you don't like. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them, but if you want to, how you want to advise council is y'all's purview.
All right, well, I think that these probably need to be tightened up a little bit. So, for instance, I mean, I don't know if we can go ahead and vote on some of this stuff now, but first of all, to eliminate some of it. So as you had mentioned earlier, Rose, 12 and 13, some of these are reliant on earlier decisions and some aren't. So if we say, okay, we want section 2 here, which is basically we decide to say, okay, we're going to put in the Cat 1 list from the FLEPPC list as amended. And we would get rid of 13, 14. We could take out 13, 12, 13. Yeah, 12 and 13 are gone. I mean, should we go through this and actually decide if anybody has an objection to adding any of this? Since we've just gone through it.
I'd need a copy.
I've been looking at the email.
Yeah, I forgot my phone.
I do that too.
Oh, okay, let's table it, I guess, and come back and dig in it closer, because for instance, we'd like to say, what, on the wording, I mean, I like the first one, the more flowery stuff on number 5, the intent and purpose, for example 1, versus example 2. I mean, there's minor decisions here, I think, that need to be made, unless you have a reason not to support one of these recommendations.
I mean, a list of invasives, are we going to have it fluid, or is it going to be a list?
It's a hard list that's going to be an appendix, and it's as amended, though. So
As amended, meaning?
meaning that if the FECCP amends the list, you're responsible for knowing that some weird plant, different new invasive was added.
So I would actually say I wouldn't put a list in the ordinance. I would just.
But people want to pick up an ordinance and say, how do I achieve what you want without having to go to a whole bunch of different places, I guess.
Maybe include the most common.
I'd say the 2019 category 1 list, and then if 5 years later, how often do they come up with a new list? Obviously, it's 2019.
Every couple of years, like 2-3 years.
2-3 years. I mean, do you just say we're going to update the appendix with the new list every time it comes out? I mean, I know that's a management, issue, but. Or do you say
Personally, I would say reference, category 1 invasive exotics as defined by the FLEPP are prohibited.
Okay, I mean, I'm not, I'm just thinking as a homeowner or whoever, a person, it's nice to say, okay, where's that at? And
I mean, been FLEPPC and it gives it to you.
Google.
I know how to use the internet. Not everybody does.
I'm concerned about having a fluid list is Augustine grass. It's an invasive plant. What if that makes it to the list? Grass.
Why are you saying it's invasive?
And it's not native.
A native, but
So
it's not
native and
invasive.
exotic is different.
Not native, it's invasive. It'll take over other planting areas.
This is the Greg Fossum list, or why is it on the
I'm just saying certain things, if they get on the list, would make me concerned.
I don't like to plan around hypotheticals. I mean, I believe if it was invasive exotic, it'd already be on the list.
They change it. Means
This
that
is
they're-
for new construction, so unless you did something like tore down your house and built a whole new one,
a new patio in, I have to tear out all my grass.
it's possible. That's the other option. Number
I think
3
that
is the
that's
other
kind of an
option, new
alarmist
construction, that's how we
comment. I
define,
don't see
what is new construction?
St. Augustine's grass.
Have you looked at take a look at the list.
I don't have, where is it?
It's FLECPPC.
As common as St. Augustine's is, if it
.com.
was invasive exotic, it would be on the list.
Political reasons not on the list. It's an
And I
invasive.
don't like to plan around hypotheticals.
It's just, it makes me concerned. It's not native, it's invasive, not on the list.
You're saying it's invasive. Why you keep saying it's invasive?
You ever have St. Augustine grass and take care of it? It grows and invades other areas and chokes out other plants.
Is it on the list? I think what you're trying to get is it is
Not on the list now. I'm
That's all.
concerned, what if it gets on the
But
list?
if it gets on the list, then it would be updated every time there's something new, right?
It's for new construction, so.
But he said if he decides to pull a, land development order and there's a hook in there that says, hey, how's our opportunity for you to get rid of your invasives? Well, then you'd have to pull it all out. But, I mean, again, I think that's an extreme case if it's been around for a long, long, long time,
Yeah,
that
I mean,
grass, and it's not on the list.
There's a lot of condos with scaevola right now that was not on, there wasn't any list whenever it was planted there, and now it's there, and there's gonna be a lot of whining about requiring that to be taken out should they pull a permit. So, I mean, his point, that does happen.
We have to decide as a group whether we want to put that, on other LDOs or whether or not it's just completely new construction, right? I mean, that's another vote for the town council, not us. Let's face it, we don't make any decisions. Bring it to town and they would say, okay, well, there's two choices here. One is we like to do this to eliminate the invasives, or option B is only on new construction. There's no backward looking at all, and you can use invasives as long as you want here.
And I understand what you're saying that St. Augustine's grass does.
That's just one example. There's,
may not meet
other
the-
plannings I may have that all of a sudden get on the list.
I would think though, would leave it to the experts to define it, because I know things like frog fruit, the perennial peanut grass, that is not considered invasive because it doesn't seed here. But it is spreading, and they're looking at maybe putting on the invasive list, but it's like a 10, 20-year problem. It's not like people are going to go overnight and just be changing the list.
It's invaded by that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for the sake of time, we decided we weren't going to accomplish everything here, but we made a heck of a jump. So thank you, Rose. I'm going to go on record here to give you the Murph member of the meeting award.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a lot of work.
Everybody's in favor for that?
Second that.
Okay. Right on. That's not even hearing the rest of you guys yet. We know Rose has been struggling along with it. So for next meeting, you need to, again, look at this closely, and we're going to make recommendations that we can then give to staff.
To council.
Well, to give to council, but again, I mean, okay, we can do that. We won't, so what you're suggesting is we won't actually modify the ordinance and pass it
Again, you
along.
need to, the
Council
process
will
is
tell them what we're working on, and they'll say then, okay, go ahead and work on the ordinance.
advise council what I think is best for the marine resources of the town.
Okay, so that'll, we're gonna accomplish that next meeting, so that stays on. Next subject here is dark skies, and this will actually be a short one, because we're not actually, you didn't get the steering document from me. We're not gonna go in with both feet yet, because what we're gonna do actually is take another month here to do some potential damage control. There's a lot of the projects that are going on here on the island. There's, maybe you've heard of them. There's a bunch of them. There's Times Square, obviously. There's Bayside Park. Bay Oaks is coming along the way. There's signs being put up, at the bridges. So my question is are the lighting standards? Because there's such, there's things I saw on the list like well lights. And I think those are
Uplights.
uplights, which are, I believe, against our ordinance. Any external light has to be full cut off, shielded. So I know there's questions about, there's tree lights that were described, and, I've gone to the spec sheets, and I don't know how they're being mounted. All this lighting, has anybody even looked at that, and did they actually give them our lighting ordinance to say this has to meet our lighting ordinance? Some of it is, passenger or walkways, you can't mount anything over 12 feet, things like that. Is that all taken into consideration? Also, I saw that there is a sole source for a dual light to be made. And the question is that for Bayside, right? Did you see that, Bill?
Actually, I just picked up my book for Monday's.
Okay, yeah, I know that hasn't been
For
posted
some
yet.
reason, council's the last to know.
The question is where are those gonna be used? They appear to be used probably from the corridor, from Bayside Park to Times Square, and Times Square is obviously on the beach, so are we gonna be install, we just took 2 years to go through this whole thing. What's gonna be done down there, and has town council agreed on? I know they voted, to move forward with Bayside Park. There's not a 100% plan yet available. I guess because there's still negotiation going on, but where do we stand on those types of issues? They had originally, I think the 90% plan for Times Square showed, 2 sets of lights. It looked like they had 2 photometrics, amber and for 3K white. There's, I don't know how many, 40, 20, but there's 11 LEDs going up in Bayside and Times Square. I didn't write the number down here, but actually 22 that'll circle, all the walkways and things. So are those, and those are these Luso, I'm sorry, those are VSXs from Visionaire. Are those going to be, are those going to be installed for the same reasons that we talked about for and again, why move forward with dark skies if we're not following our own ordinance and we're actually not?
That's kind of another conversation. I do think that if you think the town ordinance, if something is going in these designs that does not conform to the town ordinance, I think letting staff know to look into it. Mm-hmm. If you think there's something that needs to be adjusted with the ordinance, that's something you would advise council.
Right.
You know that the 3 fully hooded amber street lights are down in the little crosswalk down there by Times Square. I went down the other night to look at it. Mm-hmm. You honestly can't tell the effect of the lights because every shop around there is like.
Winds is unbelievable. What's the one on the corner to the left?
It is so
unbelievable.
white
That
and
second
so bright.
story, all those lights are coming out, man. That's unbelievable,
It is,
actually.
and so I couldn't even really see the amber color on
it's like light trespass. I mean, that's in our ordinance too. So it's, but the actual was well lit. I mean, you've got,
I also know that people at the end of the street have complained that people don't feel safe on the street because it's dark.
What street?
On Old San Carlos, going down to people down at the bay end, the businesses. Mm-hmm. They complain that people don't come down to them because it's dark.
I'm guessing though that there's probably going to be a lighting plan to connect the 2 parks as part of this redevelopment downtown. So I'm guessing.
I know we're putting in lights where the sidewalks went in.
Right, those have been decided. Those are amber. Those are
right.
the lettered streets, I guess.
And I'll look into it because I do know also that you would recommend that we don't mix light colors, especially on places where people are driving. Consider it safe.
Right.
There's my phone ringing.
So that's just a question. Who's driving the car? Where's the continuity? Where's the the design, and what's the purpose and like that. So just thought I'd bring that really up during this portion.
Are the lights permitted? Permitted? Why don't they go by the ordinance? I mean, but if they are permanent, they have to be.
Well, the plans aren't 100%, so they're not. I don't think it's permitted.
Once they are,
right.
They follow the ordinance.
They should, but I think everybody finds out that we don't follow the ordinance.
Well, that's
like
my
a
question.
Tree cutting ordinance.
If they don't follow the ordinance, why not?
I mean, we understand private citizens, but the town itself is the difference.
Well,
obviously.
If the town doesn't follow their own ordinance, we have a problem.
That is a problem. So I guess that's just out there. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I don't think there's any. I've been out of town for a couple of weeks, so I guess I got to jump back in. But it shouldn't be our responsibility either. Is my point.
There's no dark sky ordinance. So like you talked about the dual color lights on the street.
Yeah, but we have what is very close to. Again, it was just unbelievable when I read this. I mean, it's all has all the elements of a dark skies ordinance. I mean, for example, I think you brought up a question about the signs. The photo shows it being uplit. I mean, we have a sign or the lighting ordinance for our signs it has to be mounted above and directed down on the sign. So there's again no uplights. So and I'm not against accent lighting and anything like that, but I think maybe they need to be more creative. This Insight, who's the lighting contractor.
Maybe Chad can. I'll bring that up Monday if Chad is there.
The concerns are the dual lighting.
Well, no,
Yeah, and if you're coming out from underneath the bridge and you're going down San Carlos, then all of a
That's
sudden now you're
one
white
issue.
light.
But the other is, if there's uplights in these park designs, it's not, it's forbidden in the ordinance.
With the dual lighting, our Sea Turtle Ordinance, reviewing these, looking at the Sea Turtle Ordinance, the applicability of the Sea Turtle Ordinance is lights cannot be visible from the beach during sea turtle nesting season. So then you have a dual
Direct,
lighting.
indirect, or cumulatively.
Right, so then you have a dual lighting program that switches on and off with the season. So how, I understand as, from staff's perspective,
It's not approved, it's the same, that's the whole reason that we're having amber lights on Estero Boulevard, I think, because they shot down the light that the town,
Technically, the dual lights are not against the ordinance, like the uplights may be.
right, so
dual, oh, against the ordinance, you're saying? But
I'm reviewing it according to the ordinance, and they say that, these lights are going to be amber turtle compliant during sea turtle season. It's going to be something else outside of sea turtle season, meets the ordinance. If you're against dual lighting systems for the same reason you're against dual lighting systems for the amber, then voice that concern to council.
I don't
well,
know
my
if
point
it's,
again
I don't
is-
know if it's that you're against it, but I am pretty sure FWC made it clear that they would never approve dual lighting.
it's not certified lighting. So
Well, the lighting during sea turtle season is certified amber.
the fixture's not, I think. That's the point.
Again,
Yeah,
I
it's not
fully
my
encourage
words.
you
It's
to,
not my words.
right, I fully encourage you to voice your concerns
Yeah,
on council.
but also I think just the continuity of the town. I mean, again, what do we, well, there's been made a decision, I suppose, for the rest of the island, even underneath the bridge oh, yeah, I guess that's something that the town council would have to solve. Right? We need to know a little bit more, I guess, is what I'm saving here for the dark skies, so it's really just an FYI. Right? Oh, let's move on to rental boat propeller protectors.
All right.
Ranger Rob?
Yeah, so you guys, I give you a Bay Area in Florida. The very top page there that just says new ordinance proposal for City of Fort Myers Beach. That kind of sums up what I'm trying to do, as far as like what the ordinance would effectively say, why I think we need it, the purpose of the ordinance, like the time frame as to how long it would take to actually get this up and going, and then what it would mean for our area. And on the back, I have, and some like a few, a few arguments and things that I perceive that we might get from people. But anyway, so in the big packet, some of what you have there is emails that I had back and forth with, a specific group that makes these propeller guards, a certain type of propeller guard. There's a few out there. And then I have articles, mainly here, I have information on human-related injuries with just propellers without guards, and then the rest is a lot of turtle information. But this goes into seagrass, it goes into protecting the seagrass, the manatees, the dolphins, all the creatures. I also have a lot of United States Coast Guard regulations for what they have said about human mortality and that. So essentially, I am trying to propose what I would like the ordinance to effectively do. Because our area is growing so rapidly with tourism and with people moving down and more boats on the water, more and more boats, and what I'm learning is there for a while, they would rely on these rental boats being told and taught before they're handed the keys where to go, how fast to run, and what to do. And when they first started, there's dates on, I don't have the dates memorized, but when they first started trying to do more education for rental boats, there was a big drop in human mortality getting hit or injured from the propellers. And after a while, it kind of leveled out and then went back to nobody caring, it seemed like. Nobody was pushing for it. So with our area as getting as populated as it is, and so many people are taking these boats out, we're losing seagrass, we're losing manatees left and right, and turtle mortality is rising because of propeller strikes. I think it would be a really cool way to start setting the stage for our area being extremely eco-friendly, is if we were to mandate all rental boats with an exposed propeller to be required to have a propeller guard on them. This is going to then cut down not only on maintenance so it does have some positives for the companies. The initial cost is the big thing I feel like we're going to get some feedback from, is the initial cost of putting these on the boats. But once they're on, you don't have to take them off unless there's there's different types of propeller guards. Some of the guards, there's a cage that you just take off the front so you can take the propeller on and off for maintenance. But it doesn't just protect the outside environment, it also protects the propeller itself. So it'll cut down on wear and tear on some of these boats. I mean, you look at any rental boats up and down, these propellers are destroyed. But the people that are renting these boats, frankly, either don't listen or don't care when they're told to stay in the channel, go certain speeds. It's time and time again, this Sun and Fun rental boats, the salty sand boats, they're cutting right across Matanzas Pass.
Yeah.
And you can look at it from a drone or from the air and you just see the seagrass just dying out. We're down to about 5 to 10% of the seagrass left. And manatee mortality, we've lost over 1,000 manatees this year, which is more than the last 3 years. So I'm just trying to think of, we need to set the stage for something that is really going to stop some of this and start getting people to be more aware. And some of the things I think that companies will then start even, the companies that are mandated to do this, they're going to be then kicked in the butt to say, maybe we should start talking more about telling these people to stay in the channel, because if they go outside the channel, hit a rock, hit sand, and tear stuff up, it's going to bend the cage, which then is going to make them have to get a new cage. So it's going to kind of keep them even more conscious of stay in the channel, slow down in manatee zones and seagrass areas. I think it will have the initial setup is going to be an uphill battle, but once it's implemented, once it's going, the amount of benefits that this will have, not only for the companies that are mandated to do it with their pocketbook, but then also just the environmental impact, positives of what this could do, I think is absolutely incredible.
I mean, I have side scanning on my boat, so I can see all the lines in it. I hate to say it, most of the lines are from the Dolphin tour boats. Why? How can I say that? Because they have 2 motors, and I can tell by the distance
Where they're at.
So these are charter captains
Yeah.
on charter boats doing, I think, the majority.
Yeah. I didn't want to include tour boats. I think they should be personally, but just because that's what they're going to come back is they're going to say, well, our captains are U.S. Coast Guard certified master class captains. But the reason I'm pushing on rental boats is because you know how you get a rental boat? You give them the cash, you show them your license.
Yeah, I mean, I see a ton of them going through
I see what you're saying. I
grass
agree.
flats. I'm telling you.
I mean,
They don't know where the channel is, like the CWA on the south end. I mean, they're just, I mean, it's not necessarily flat, but I know that it's below, it's mid-tide. And I know that's only 3 feet or 2.5. And these big old mud trails are just cutting through the bottom. I mean,
The captains are from the rentals?
no, this is rental boats. Oh, yeah, and it's usually, it's pontoons and everybody's painting.
I know.
Guys just driving and.
I know there's no way we can get private owners.
Yeah,
there's
private
no way
owners
we can
do
get
it.
that.
I've seen as
They,
well, but
they do it
the
too.
grand majority is.
But the majority of these rental boats, the rental boats are just
They don't realize how shallow
right.
Estero Bay
They
is.
see water,
It
they
is
think they're
so
good.
shallow. Yeah.
And so a couple of things that have come up are, will it affect speed? Will it affect performance, fuel efficiency, things like that? All that data and all the tests have already been done, all that, and essentially what it is in slow speed, minimum wake, you won't even notice it's there. When you get into the, the cigar boats and that, then yeah, you're gonna have fuel efficiency things with that, but these pontoon boats aren't meant to go over 25. And unless you're going over 50, it doesn't show any differences.
What is the cost range per boat?
So per boat, depending on what type of guard you get, there's guards that are out there for $150, $200. The company that I've been talking to the most, depending on the size, is $300 to $600. So one of his quotes was for a fleet of 5 boats operating with 75 horsepower motors, probably be around $540 for each boat, totaling around $2,690 for 5 boats in a fleet.
For the
You said
cage,
540 I see, per boat.
But
Per
you also
boat.
have installation costs.
The installation, it can be done. It's if you look at them, it's essentially mounted. There's a circle. You got the propeller, you got the circle, and then you got the plate right above the propeller. It's mounted to that plate, and then there's a screen. It's like not a thin mesh, but it's like a cage almost that goes then in front of that propeller. So all you do is you screw that in, and it's a one-time mount. Once it's on the boat, it never needs to come off except for that screen in front of the propeller.
I have personally installed those. It's over an hour. Plus you have to pull the boat out of the water.
It is, yeah.
So, so that's another expense. That's, the question is, does the township have the ability to make such an ordinance? It is, most boats are federally regulated by the design of the motor and prop. You do go into non-township water. I don't know. Can we regulate cars, planes, boats?
We do regulate cars, lanes, and boats.
Not by township.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I honestly don't know.
That's the first step, is legally I don't disagree with it. I think for education, but I hate to say it to people who will come to your thing, aren't the pontoon boat beer drinking type people.
Sure they are.
Yeah.
Well, the education, there's, I have pages here
Yeah.
that the education has proved to be ineffective now.
Yeah,
It's,
I see it all the time.
yeah.
Right.
So prevention is key. That'll help. You're still gonna get the skeg scarring of the grass with that. If you hit a manatee with your motor at 25 miles an hour, it's still gonna hurt.
Well, it is gonna hurt, but I also have statistics here, blunt force trauma versus bladed trauma. And blunt force trauma under a certain mile per hour isn't going to be a fatal injury for the wildlife. So I looked into that as well.
Yeah.
As far as the prop scarring, cutting of the root systems is what does it. But this is going to put a little bit, we were just talking about, it's going to put a couple inches or so below the actual blade. So you're going to be bumping and realize you're bumping before that blade's doing the damage. So it's going to give you more time to back off.
The pontoon boats only know they're bumping when they're.
Oh, yeah, and that's a good point.
That's true, I've seen
We're
it. I
slowing
can't
down,
tell you how
trying to
many
go
times I've
faster.
seen them. I've watched it, I'm just like, oh man, I hope they're holding on, because they're gonna come to an abrupt
Yeah.
stop,
Yeah.
sure enough. Bam.
Oh,
I mean, I have a lot. This is, like I said, this is just kind of a fraction of the research and the communications I've been having with companies, FWC, Eve. I was talking with Eve with Turtle Time. I'm talking with the pod protectors. I'm talking with all slew of biologists in the area that are giving me information on types of trauma these animals endure. And the seagrass is just a fraction of what it is. My own personal thing is going with manatees and sea turtles. And because manatees, the whole reason I moved down, that's where I'm at. And
But there's a big human safety element.
well, and
too.
that's I think a big angle that
For
I don't
rental
want people to
boats.
oversee. We just had somebody get hit down by pink shell. A young lady lost her life at Lani Kai last year. So I mean, it's all kinds of statistics around it that, other than the initial cost and the time of setup, because once it's on, then you don't have to take it out of the water to maintain it. Other than normal.
Dr.
Lot-
Clausen, we do regulate personal watercraft rental, whatever that's worth.
equipment on them or the actual, do you mandate that they have to have certain,
Safety features. I know we did require certain safety equipment, whether or not that was just
It's Coast Guard.
redundant with regulations that already exist.
I mean, I think the township has a
Whether or not you
lawyer.
can rent out of the jurisdiction.
Before we do a whole bunch of work on, I think it's a needed thing, but before we do a lot of work and the
Well, no,
lawyers
I
say,
agree 100%. Can we actually affect it, you know,
yeah, can we,
change, yeah, is it legal? There's a lot of reading here too, obviously. You brought, you know, we didn't have this advanced, so I'd like to look through it all, but
And I can get more.
yeah,
like this
my
with the
concern was,
patrols.
you know, you had shot me a photo that you picked up on the web, I think, of a guard.
Oh, yeah.
Remember saying that? But my concern was that, you know, it's large like this, the propeller's inside. I felt like it, you know, it was gonna actually dig deeper, almost like, as I mentioned to Rob earlier, almost like, you know, you can buy those hose that are basically just half circles now instead of the old type of hoe, you know, it's.
Right, I use them a loophole, and they're
Loophole,
excellent. at
exactly, and I feel like,
tearing
man,
up
that
roots,
thing
yeah.
is gonna just, but,
Gouge out more.
you know, you mentioned that a front guard and, you know, maybe you'd end up feeling it, but like you said, with a rental boat,
It's
I'm
hard
not
to
sure,
tell,
and
too.
the problem we have is it's mud, you know, it's not always,
Well, one of the big things I have for like, even though you're right, it could cause a little more damage with the seagrass. The evidence doesn't show that, but it also then it does start a new line. So the education they're doing now is just inefficient, and it's give me the keys, I'm gonna go.
right, sure.
So what I feel like it would do for the rental companies then, because it's so time ineffective to take it out of the boat and maintain it, if it's damaged, or to take it on and off and redo it, it's gonna put it into these companies, and they're gonna say, well, heck, we gotta start really drilling it into these guys more than we have been, because if they damage this cage, it's gonna damage the prop more, it's gonna do, so there is stuff with that, but
You
it's
have to
gonna,
pay for it, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they always put you on the hook for prop damage.
and if they damage the prop, then they make the customer pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
Which is what they already have in the thing. You damage the boat, the prop, you pay for it.
one of
So,
the pontoon owners did tell me that one of their highest profit centers is replacing props.
yeah.
It's a profit center. It's
Yeah.
not a loss center.
Right, they charge the customer, yeah.
Yep.
More
And
than what it costs for a new prop.
this'll,
What is the cost of a new prop compared to the cost of the cage? I know like aluminum props, and they're cheaper, right?
Cheaper, yeah. I can't remember what I paid for my stainless.
Well, the stainless, I haven't bought a new prop in a while. I think $100 for an aluminum, small motor aluminum.
Sounds right, about maybe 100, 150, yeah,
And the stainless is 2.5, 3 times that price.
right, yeah.
I think that, you know, I mean,
$600.
probably some pushback, some people are gonna look at this and go, oh, this is a way to protect my prop, and they say, well, why am I using a, you know, $500 device to protect a $100 device?
but that's
Yeah.
where then it comes into the ecological side.
Well, see, I think you
Yeah,
have,
but they all, I think they all use
I think you have
stainless.
3 different things you're going for, and I would not discount the
Aluminum
health,
bends
because
too easy. That's
we've
the
had
problem.
someone die by falling off a boat a couple times in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little woman that got hit. I don't know if she died this summer, I think.
That pink shell, no, I think it
Pink
just
shell.
hurt her leg.
You know it's against the law to dangle your legs over a moving boat?
The bow ride, of course.
Power
it is.
ride,
Oh,
yeah, but you see that on everything, all the
Yeah,
boats.
I mean,
It's
so,
illegal to drink and drive your boat too.
and that's how, I didn't realize you get your foot stuck in the water and you're in the prop.
Sucked right in, yeah. But that's the thing, you got a propeller guard on, then instead of a lost head, you got a concussion. You know, that's where that blunt force trauma comes in. And that's what we're seeing with sea turtles, with dolphins and manatees, is that these boats are supposed to be going slow speed already. Then when you do start talking about getting hit, whether it's any type of animal, human included, the mortality rate significantly changes then. You got these animals that are then getting bruised instead of killed. And it's a big, big change.
Okay, I'm gonna, oh, good.
What do you see enforcement looking like?
I would see enforcement essentially being whether it's beach patrol or whoever would enforce, because I guess we got to look into how we enforce it, and then that determines who would enforce it. Accurate?
Enforcement, would it be our harbor master? What do you do? Go and inspect, have them tilt it up and say you got, you
Right,
know?
are we enforcing it at the marinas themselves?
I would say
Yeah.
so, because you can't pull over a rental, they're not gonna know or care. But I'd say once this would go into effect, like the time frame I have on there is 6 months to a year of where, okay, so we know where the rental boats are coming from, we know the marinas, we know exactly where they would be. So in the morning or in the afternoon, before they get those boats going out, they have the whole fleet there. I mean, they tilt up the motor, all you gotta do is just drive past, and if you see one without a cage on it, hey, you can't let that boat go out.
There's a significant number of boats, rental
They
boats
don't
that
apply.
are not Fort Myers Beach based.
Right.
I
One
understand.
of the, one I see, it's always.
Salty Sam's is rough, and I know we
yeah.
can't touch that.
Salty Sam's is a township.
No,
No?
no.
Coast
Just to
Island.
the, township stops right at the end of the
Bridge to
bridge.
bridge, yeah.
When, and this is, and it, having built off that, this is one of those things like the lighting ordinance that it's like, this is unprecedented. I don't see something like this around other than like outside of Crystal River type areas. But we're going to be setting, we're gonna be setting an example of how much we care, and then other places can start saying, Fort Myers Beach did it, and this is how they did it. So I really feel like it's a really good leading by example situation where it's not gonna be easy, it's not gonna be fun, we'll get, kickback from it, but positives of this, I just think are just, and I wasn't trying to be biased like saying that, but it's like, I don't see negatives other than the money. But once that money is put out there, it's gonna save the company's money, it'll save
I mean, they
lawsuits, it'll
charge
save-
$300
it'll
to
save
$600 for a half a
Right.
day,
Yeah,
so
right, they're
that's
fine.
just, I think
Yeah.
the money is,
I mean, a kayak's $2,000 now, so you can pay for 10 of the, it'll save lives. Like, at the end of the day, like,
So-
that's really gonna say.
so we have 5 marinas
I don't know how, I know,
So, yeah.
that rent boats. Is there anyone else that rents boats
I didn't,
on Fort Myers Beach?
I didn't look into that specifically. I know there's, like, in our area, there's Pink Shell, then you got Snug
Moss?
Harbor you got Moss.
Yeah, there's hotels that rent
There's
boats
hotels
too.
that rent
You have
boats, yeah.
Snook Bite, you have Fishtail, that's 5.
And then the hotels that rent the boats, yeah, so I mean, there's a lot.
Shell does rent them?
Pink Shell does through Holiday Water Sports. Pink Shell itself does not have any boats that they go
Have
out.
you gauged the acceptance of such an ordinance with?
I'll say with some of the workers, they think it's a great idea. With some of the ownership, they were a little hesitant to talk about it.
Right.
There's some tricks. So you'd also have to then certify what's an acceptable cage.
Yeah.
Is there a
Well,
level,
and that's-
is there
and
any
that's the
kind of
thing.
standards to that at all?
There's a whole bunch of different designs out there. And it would, if we did the ordinance, we would have to together say these would be the acceptable ones, or just make it as if you're trying and putting something on there, like, I don't know how strict we want to be with it. I feel like personally, if we were doing it, we ought to go all in for the best protection for the wildlife.
All right, some direction here for the sake of time. Why don't we, we'll leave this on the agenda for next meeting. In the meantime, we'll check the laws to see if again, if we're just not wasting our breath, hopefully not. 2, we'll read up, Rob brought a whole bunch of stuff I'd like to read actually, in preparation for it. And the next meeting, we can raise a question again, and hopefully I have talked around, read up, did a little more research and maybe talk to some people about it. And then we'll be prepared to talk about it again with 2 more members. Sound good?
Yep.
So,
Is there any other information you guys would like me to bring for next time to be ready, other than obviously what you can't know what you're gonna ask Ben, but
no, if
anything
there
I
was, you had done some other research on the letters here, but were there particular websites that were real helpful?
I can share those.
Yeah, maybe
I'll get
send those
with you.
to, a list of those to Chad, and then we can just boom, boom, boom,
Okay.
boom, and then we can those, so.
Sounds good.
Good? All right, so,
And then insurance, like if that was an insurance benefit to put those on?
oh, interesting, yeah.
That's a
one,
good point.
Rose. Yeah. Insurance, Benny.
The exit protects it.
It's about features and benefits, it's about benefits. Good. Okay, last item on the list here, at least for subject matter, is marinas and boat pump outs. And Doc Fossum brought us a steering document
It's
here.
very preliminary, and I just got some more stuff from Rose, and I guess Jennifer. So did not incorporate this into it, so all I would say is, let's not discuss it, just talk about it, and let's send Chad, then to me, any revisions or changes that you.
There's human waste disposal.
so.
So, just real quick, I sent everyone, state records on all of the permitted marinas, or I shouldn't say all,
Yeah, that's right, I did.
handful of permitted marinas. Anybody have a chance to look at that?
I did, it's kind of, it had correspondence between Depp
Right.
and them, and
So what's usually interesting in reading those is you can find the latest permit that was issued, which will tell you how many boats they can have, whether or not they can have liveaboards in there, whether or not they can have a pump out facility, et cetera. So what they're allowed, what they're authorized to do.
their latest permit is in there, you're saying?
Yeah, so you'll
Okay.
find in there, you'll find a permit, and you can also find what's usually interesting is compliance inspection reports.
Mhm.
You can see who's in compliance, not, who may or may not be.
I saw one of those, actually.
Then Dr. Fossum, on this one, so this is a technical thing, so it would be enterococci, not E. coli for salt water. And I would not refer to estero bay as a sterile bay. We have a lot of inputs from,
Oh, my voice dictated that, and Estero Bay, I thought I caught them all.
And don't write me a prescription, using voice.
Well, some people should be sterilized.
What did you give me? Hey, what should that say, did you say?
I guess estero bay, not,
Oh, I see, sterile bay, gotcha.
I think, that's another, to that point, I think we have to remember we're kind of at the receiving end of nutrients and waste from several different inputs. So, there's only so much we can do, but to your point, there is something we can.
There is, there's been water quality sampling been done for the last several years, and that we had one of the public comment guys come in saying he wanted that report. It's been hidden from him.
Right.
Lee County, it's on
So
Lee
that-
County
yeah.
site.
I just would like to see that so we get an idea of the magnitude of the problem.
Right.
If it's,
We're not sampling for enterococci right now. We're only sampling for nutrients.
Was that just a water sampling? Because the Water Atlas by CHENEP, they have, they're like a collector of all kinds of samples.
Right, so Lee County Lab is sampling for enterococci at several locations along the island. If you go to Lee County Environmental Lab, they have drill down and look at different things that they're sampling for, different sampling sites, okay, as well as on the front, some on the Gulf side.
results are just, there's,
You can go, if you search on CHENEP, CHNEP Water Atlas, it has an interactive map that gives you samples from a lot of different institutions.
what was that again?
CHENEP, CHNEP.
Harbor,
Coastland and Heartlands National Estuary Partnership.
right,
Like a clearinghouse, that's what you're saying, right? Of
Yeah,
all
and they
data,
call it the
collect
Water
all.
Atlas, and they have a wealth of information.
Yeah, that's the problem, the other problem is if somebody dumps, it no event, and it's intermittent, I would say. That's an issue, and, I thought, we had talked about we called it the blue pill at the time, but I looked it up a little bit, and it's, you can find, it's biodegradable, it's a fluorescent dye, it's EPA standard, it's made just for holding tanks, and it's a fluorescent, xanthane is the actual dye. But, I was thinking, on the mooring field, that's out of our purview, but these marinas that aren't part of the mooring field, it'd be interesting to actually ask them to require liveaboards, or even anybody, I suppose, dock there, whatever we decide on, to put these in their tanks. And then, obviously if they dump, you get this fluorescent, again, it's a safe, EPA safe product, but it's a dye to say, hey, this guy just dumped, or he's got a leaky, that's the other issue, is leaking holding tanks. And then actually, we could even go to ACC and ask them that when come to the mooring field and they check in, you give them this particular dose is 3 tablets, at roughly 33 cents to throw in their holding tanks. Now, as I thought about it, I thought, well, the good boaters who probably follow the rules and have, you know, have good holding tanks, will drop them in there, no problem. It's the ones that don't ignore it or whatever, they may not even find their way into their tanks. You know, or you give it to as part of the pump out. You know, after you pump it out, you say, hey, throwing 3 tablets in here. Do you have a problem with that, or that's a requirement of the pump out? I mean, that's one
said-
way potentially to identify, but
Like you said, the people who are going and getting pumped out are probably not the ones you really need tablets in.
right, because they're just pumping themselves out, right? But
How do you enforce that?
There's jurisdictional issues and there's complexities, and one is, you know, I understand it's the sheriff or.
well, the big ones are, I mean, if you're sitting in a marina and, you know, one of these marinas and you got this yellow dye, I mean, it's almost, you know, I think the neighbors are gonna sink the guy.
How do you know
We'll,
if the,
we'll leave it to the
how do you
vigilantes.
know if the marinas, or say for instance, there's something requiring marinas, boards or whatever to have the fluorescents? How do you know the fluorescents are in there?
That are actually being deposited into the tanks, you're saying? Right, I mean, again, I mean,
Need a
do you do it?
tank inspector.
That's what I'm getting to. You see where I'm getting to?
but also, yeah, no thanks. But also, I mean, even if you're testing for you know, E. cocci, what does that mean? How are you gonna who are you gonna point the finger at there? I mean, that's even further. I mean, that could be coming from, you know, a toilet up in Mullet Creek or something. So those are some of the things we have to overcome if we want to somehow manage this a little better.
When they go to rent a slip at a marina, they offer the pump outs?
Depends if they have a pump out or not.
Shell does.
They offer, do they specifically say, hey,
Specifically say
Yeah.
they have to do
Okay.
it through them?
Oh, no, they don't say they have to, they
It's
just say we
available.
have this.
Right. Yeah,
They have it for pull-up boats too, but if you're staying at Pink Shell one night, they go over a list of the amenities, and that's one of the amenities.
Like, for me, I can just pull up the fishtail and tell them I want to pump it out, and boom, get them $5 and that's it.
What if it's just something
Snake
where
bite.
we just ask marinas, instead of going through like a legal thing with it, just ask marinas, say, hey, would you mind if you have a boat stay there for more than 5 days? Would you be willing to just say, hey, put one of these tablets in your boat?
I was going on the side of maybe free pump outs and more education, multi-phase.
I mean, just kind of get a grasp on. I mean, I like obviously education. I'm always with that, but it's like just to get a grasp on how these marinas would comply with something like that, and saying, look, we just want to see what's going on here. We got water quality issues. You're a marina that is involved with the health of the water. Would you be willing to just at least ask your tenants that are here for more than 5 days if they would be willing to put a tablet in there? One, it might be a positive thing for the marina, and then two, it would just, maybe some of these people don't know they have a leak that they're going to. I mean, Pink Shell's not a cheap marina to stay at, and I don't foresee a lot of our locals that are staying there saying no to something like that. They would want to know if their boat's leaking. So you're right, we can't go to a lot of the problem boats that would have an issue anyway, but I think the people staying at these marinas would have no problem if we just asked them to do it.
Yeah, there are two aspects to this. One is the people that dump. I mean, again, you know, that's going to be a challenge. Anyway, you look at it, I think. But then there's also the leaking tanks, you know, tanks. So it would be a huge benefit to notify somebody. I mean, I'm sure they'd appreciate it.
Yeah, if we supplied the tablets to the marinas, I'm sure people would love it. You know?
Expensive. And as far as I think the free pump outs, didn't we discuss that already? I thought there was a minimum $5 for some strange reason.
It's part of the grant.
Be part of the grant, they have to.
I think it's a maximum, not a minimum.
Oh, it is? Okay. Huh.
I think it's a maximum, they have to, you know, maximum of $5, so.
That's an Austin Chelsea question.
We could find that out.
Yeah,
You
a
can
lot
go-
of this gets, you know, you're
You can
kind
go to
of,
any of the, you can go to any of the marinas either. You can go to your,
but you're kind of overlapping a lot with the Anchorage Committee.
no, the Anchorage, I mean, you know,
Our boats
we
not
have
anchored.
our marching order and basically the ACC is simply the mooring field. That's it. I mean, it doesn't involve everything to do with boats.
Yeah.
No, it's the marine environment is our neck of the woods, so.
One thing they have is they have, you know, Austin, the harbor master, who knows more about what goes on
Sure.
beyond
No, I
outside the
agree,
board.
he's a fantastic guy and a resource and everything else, but I mean, yeah, we would involve them for sure. I think before doing anything here, especially with this. Yeah, I think as far as, they get involved maybe with the marinas, but that's not, the ACC doesn't, I think, they don't, not their venue at all. I mean, I've never heard of anything come on that. Where does that leave us?
Give me suggestions, I'll make modifications, look at this document here.
Okay.
And
Excellent, thanks, Doc. Nice steering document. Steering document. All right, let's go to the members, our Good Citizen Award,
That joke's not gonna make the final.
AKA the Murphy. Anybody have any Murphys?
We still have Jennifer's the little boy with the Halloween costume.
He's coming, he should be in the newspaper.
But then we had yours.
And then I have one for the pest control people that got garbage.
Dynamic
out of the
pest
canal.
control, litter in the canal
Yes.
from Rose. I got him in the bank here, I got a bank
Okay, so
account.
then I was like, my question was, can we ever do more than one per month? Rather than getting backlog, because now there's all these people that are coming down and there's a lot of people. There was a sand dollar one too out
Right,
there.
that's Rose's, but,
Yeah, so it's like, could we ever do more than one per month?
you've had problems getting one.
I don't know.
yeah, in
Well,
the
now-
past, actually.
Well, now
we're-
that we're like on.
Well, it sounds to me like we're already gonna be making a withdrawal from the bank, which leaves us one, so I think we'll be judicious about about them. When Bill was chair, he'd be like, God, has anybody got one? I got in the bank here. So does anybody have, a new one, a recent one that or are we gonna make a withdrawal here?
I don't want to make it.
No, I mean,
Use one of the existing.
No,
right,
I'm saying
using one of the existings.
from the bank is what I'm saying. I mean, I'm gonna make a motion that we use Rose's Dynamic Pest Control as the Murphy winner for this month.
I'll second
Oh, you
that.
gotta do the little kid who got the.
already
He's
submitted.
already in.
Yeah,
He's,
he's already
he's
in.
gonna
Okay,
show
okay.
up the
All right,
paper when Wendy
perfect.
does her
All right.
seagrass article. Should be,
So I second that.
Okay,
okay.
all right, so then I will send you the photo
Any
and
discussion?
whatever.
Oh, any objections?
I'm not a fan of that one personally, but I like Rose, so I'll say it's okay.
Okay, then we'll vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you, Rose. If you can give it to me by the 21st of the month, that would be terrific. And, Rob, you are, due, right, December 1st is sort of the date, so,
I had it all done, but now Bill has me thinking.
Was a
Well.
suggestion.
right. Well, we also have to, right prior to leaving this, I mean, we're basically done, but, is to repopulate our list here
Fold it up into.
for the spotlight calendar. Well, right now, Rob makes is the last one for the 2021 calendar, and so for the 22 calendar, we have January through December blank. So does anybody want to do January? But rotating through here. Anybody?
I haven't done one in a pretty long time, so I'll be happy to take.
Okay, yeah, you did March, I Rose did April, I did May. We skipped some in the summer, that's what happened. And then, so Greg did September, Rose did October, Wendy did November, Rob's doing December. So if we went back,
Keep this the same rotation?
we can, and we have some new players here. Renee did one last year. So, so do you want to do January?
It's fine.
Right, Jen? February?
Take it.
Okay, Rose? March? Do March. April? Mary Rose?
They're not here, they get
May
volunteered.
is Wendy. Like June or July? June? Okay, roger that.
July,
July's good? Okay, good.
best for last.
Rob, and then we'll, should I put you down for August? Want to just keep going for the year?
Sure, that's fine.
In that same order, or do we want to,
Why don't you do the same order and then someone, if they have vacation, they can say, I can't do it. about.
Okay, Jen, August, Rose, February, September, October. I'll do reminders too. You'll get a reminder by email on the 21st of the month prior. October, Rose, Steve. November then would be Mary, Rose, and Wendy. Okay, got it. Excellent, you guys rock. And members' items and reports. Bob, anything?
Working on that guy.
All right. Members' report. I've got one here. I have it here. Sawfish mural. I don't know where I ripped this out of. Fort Myers, October, Coastal Angler Magazine. So, seeking wall for endangered sawfish mural. Basically, there's an organization here, the Sawfish Conservation Society, sponsors a mural, and all they're looking for is artist Roger Pete will do a sawfish mural, or 2 or 3, as part of the Endangered Species Mural Project. We're looking for an uninterrupted and unobstructed wall that's 300 by 1,200 square feet. Good shape with a smooth surface and a flat ground in front of it in case a lift or scaffolding is needed. An area with good year-round pedestrian and/or traffic exposure.
Wall's a pink shell I'd love to do, but
And
it's
it
not.
goes on, but I mean, it's really for thought. It's just,
Hey, Oaks?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just kind of throwing it out there for you to think on.
It can't be private?
I would guess could be private, absolutely, as long as, I mean, if
Would you
there was a
send me the-
big wall right near Times Square where you got all, this traffic, I'm sure they would love that.
If
I
you
mean,
could send me that information, I'd love to go past Bill Wachulis about it.
I will do that. You want to take a photo of it?
Yeah.
Take a photo of it. And,
Because we have a couple big walls.
maybe I'll put it, give it to our to our communications coordinator to put in an advisory. Say, does
Maybe even
anybody want one? Yeah, that's true. So I don't know if you have to approve that the artists, maybe the guy's not any good. Just paint it
is that
over.
with crayons or?
But I was just going to share that information. So, Doc, any members' reports?
We knew.
Nothing new?
My supplies, do you order those?
I had to put that onto,
Because it's kind of gonna be a problem. If it's gonna be a month before I can get the supplies.
you haven't heard anything from anyone?
And so honestly, really, I think and does the town have Prime through Amazon?
Yeah, we can order through Amazon.
Okay, so you can order through Amazon. So some of these things, they'll say like 10 left and they change items, they kind of,
I apologize, I thought that
through
was
the
being
system
taken
and-
care of, Jennifer.
and so I've had to, in the past month, have to defer my own supplies again.
I have a box of things for you.
Okay, thank you.
So,
We're still on the same list? Has anything changed?
Yeah, because some of those things don't exist anymore on there, or the fluctuation and the prices change, so I don't need everything on the list, I just need on the list.
Okay, Rose, anything?
Just the cigarette canisters in Times Square, and then to go with her, talking about the shrimp festival.
Oh, thank you. I forgot about the Shrimp Festival. So yes, we will be doing the Shrimp Festival. The pop-up will be doing the Shrimp Festival. They are asking for a donation. They said it could, I think he said 200, but they can negotiate that down. Would definitely need all hands on board for that because it's going to be 2 days, I believe, and it's going to be from 9 o'clock until 4 o'clock, and then I think 5 o'clock on Saturday, 4 o'clock on Sunday. So if you're all interested, but I'll need to know if I'm going to have help.
In that expo area and everything?
Right.
Oh,
And then I'll have, I'm sure I'll have other organizations like the Fort Myers Beach Community Foundation. I'm sure I'll have maybe some people from Pro and Diego Bay. I'll reach out to everyone, and then that way but I'll need a Marine Resource Task Force person to get the booth shifts.
Just another thought, we have done float in the parade in the past.
We should do a float.
Have a big Polynesian sailboat that'll be done by that time. We can put on a trailer.
What we've done in the past is I got a trailer from somebody. We built the frame. We have 4x8 sheets of plywood that we get together and paint scenes on it. I still have the panels, and actually the painting party is pretty fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
How much is it to enter the boat?
$25, I think.
Really?
Cheaper than having a booth.
There's-
It's a short thing. It's not like days.
Right.
You're wandering around, you walk by and you can hand things out. And
And
last time
educational.
we had Mary Rose in a turtle outfit. The back of Steve's trucks had the turtle, tape out. It was pretty.
That's taped. and
adorable.
Well, are we interested in doing the boat parade?
That'd be kind of fun.
I consider I may be in a different parade, a different float. Personally, is my problem is the sort of float leader, but maybe not. So that's why I didn't float it out there yet. But I have been thinking about it. I got a million of them, Bill.
We need a driver, right? Someone to drive.
I already
and then
have a
there's
dent
few
in my
people-
tailgate. I can put another one in there.
His brand new truck. He broke it in.
That's right, a little dent.
Oh, man.
Drive around with a trailer with your tailgate
Tailgate
down.
down. Oh.
Then who's ever in the float parade cannot also be at the booth because it's gonna be a code
They'd have to
at the
sign
same
up for
time
later.
frame. So it'd be lots of us. And
Right, right.
With
Would you make a schedule for like, because I could be there Sunday, but would it be like 2-hour blocks? Could you make like a schedule that we could sign up
Well,
for?
first I wanted to know whether or not you are all in or whether or not you're interested in having the pop-up at the shrimp parade.
I think it's a
Yeah,
good
Because then we
opportunity.
would
we can find somebody to make the donation, I'm sure.
We have a
Work on
budget
that.
too that we
Oh,
can
that's
draw
true.
from.
We can use that for that?
I'm sure I could probably get him down to $100.
I think so, we're,
Because he was really, interested in
Kiwanis.
having us.
Kiwanis?
Yes. If we are okay with it, can I go ahead and
Yeah,
start
I'd say
planning
yeah.
for it? Putting
I'll
out
be
letters?
able to help, yes.
Okay. Awesome.
I may have other responsibilities. That's typically when we get the grandkids that way.
It can work.
I don't think you want a
Not at the
6-year-old
pop-up.
and a 10-year-old.
No,
They don't work too hard.
not allowed.
So are you interested in trying to get a parade float together?
I am.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's on the table here, yeah. I mean, I don't have to, I mean, I would help with it, obviously, and everything. I just may not fight in it.
I've
Hang on.
never been in a parade.
And it's a real friends and family thing because we have
Oh, it's a great time.
some people in the float and most people walking around.
Walking around, got our Murph shirts
It's a good place
this
to hand
time.
out stuff, and yeah.
I mean, if I don't have the grandkids, we could be ecologically favorable. I could tow it with my Tesla. I have a trailer hitch on the Tesla.
Oh, that's
Okay.
great. I like that.
There you go. Of course you do.
I've also got my truck where I've got the rack all over it, which I could add all kinds of frilly things on it.
So I made, for Kiker, I made for the Fort Myers lights, I
riding the
made
float?
jellyfish. I won, I was in a parade. I was in a boat parade in 2013 where we won with, jellyfish. So,
Like, the Polynesian boat, I mean, we wouldn't have the team building with the painting, but I mean, the Polynesian boat.
you could do the
Cool.
sawfish.
When's the
oh yeah, we could get somebody
Go
to
to
do
his
this.
website, you can see it under construction.
I've seen it.
Have you updated it?
So, the other thing we can
Photos?
do too is, because
Yeah.
like, with my truck, I've got the rack, we can put at least some of the panels on the truck, and then have the boat behind on a trailer.
Ah, there you go. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. It was built on the, no, it was on the
That was,
trailer.
I did that for the last shrimp parade for my campaign, and then it was canceled, and so I built it, then I took it down.
Ah, I got you. To fit on the back of the truck.
I had a whole thing going, it
Oh,
was pretty
perfect. That's,
off, but.
So all, in favor of the boat parade, yes?
hi.
All right.
Agree?
Parade. That's
Fun.
formality. Okay.
What are the dates of that?
March or
I think
something,
it's
right?
March.
12th and 13th. So I was
Thank
just
you.
looking.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Jeez.
So I was checking my calendar.
12th and 13th, so we got some time. Okay, I love it. And so, good.
We're good. I'm just gonna like turn it off.
Okay, we'll bring up again that, it'd be nice to have cigarette disposal containers.
Add cigarettes disposal
I
containers.
believe that was passed along to Public Works, so,
We adding that to the agenda?
no, that was, again, members report a request from her to,
Again, advise council if y'all want to get something heard.
okay,
And,
you know that.
if you want to put the shrimp parade on your agenda, just so we were to not stop it until the day
Last
before.
minute. Okay, so we're gonna do set agenda for next meeting. Tree nourishment comes off, vegetation stays on. We're getting very close on that one. Dark skies stays on. You get a in with 2 feet. Steering document on its way. Rental boat propeller protectors stay on. Going back to that. Marinas and boat pump outs stay on. And we'll put the parade.
We're gonna get a legal opinion on,
I was gonna
Questionable.
ask.
What I got is questionable.
did you
I
check
sent an
that?
email to the attorney, and he said that the state regulates boating safety. That may constitute a preemption. I'm not sure if, he said, but possibly not, so he wasn't completely sure whether it was, maybe just applying it to a rental company? Maybe a way in, or maybe, they don't want you to mandate something that's unsafe.
Can you make that the license?
Be able to run your company on the island?
We don't typically regulate big business licenses.
Don't you need a city permit to operate a business?
They have to have a business license, right?
I don't think we
We
regulate boat
zone,
rentals.
we can zone what you can and cannot do, but I don't know if we regulate. It's the thing with like alcohol. They have nothing to do with,
If you regulate what you can and cannot do, can you regulate that you cannot run a rental boat without a prop guard on it?
I think that's
Is that
not really part of zoning.
the gray area?
That's, that's why the attorney gets paid the big bucks.
Okay, so parade float is added.
Would certainly be a pioneering ordinance if we did. Be a good thing, because we've had are some things we've done have rippled out to a lot of other places.
That's what I like about it.
Yeah, I got a lot of attention.
on the side, would it be a depth finder on those boats?
That's not gonna help with manatees. Don't help with seagrass.
I think they all get picked off
Finders.
because they run them into sandbanks and beaches.
Oh, yeah, transducers.
That's that high speed you're talking about where they all
go.
go flying. There goes that radar.
Transducer gets sheared right off.
No, I've been grounded and didn't take mine off.
No, well, you probably didn't run it all the way up to the transom, what did you?
Yeah, I did. I was stuck in the mud.
Right.
It's the old high tide, low tide, right by Tarpon Lodge.
I think one time I rented a boat and
Yeah.
the depth finder actually worked and I was surprised.
Yeah. Okay, 5:25, meeting adjourned.
Second.
I think I'm official. There's a motion to adjourn at 5:25.
My second.
Any discussion? Okay. Motion carries.
Boat pictures, you just scroll through, you can see video pictures, but I just got done. So the stern's this way, these are each brackets to go out to the outrigger, and then that's gonna be an access point for storage. So it's 30 feet long altogether, 4 feet from side to side here. When it's all done, it's gonna be about 10 feet.
Nice. May I take it now?
Be stuck with me the next couple of weeks.
Taken away.
It's about a